Hello, how's it going? This is Michael with the Wicked Publishing Crew. I'm, of course, one of the co-founders here, and usually we got Matt with us, but he's running a little bit late today, so hopefully he'll be joining us soon. But in the meantime, we're of course talking to our guest of the hour, which is, of course, Michael Nunneley, a Wicked Publishing creator who has been with us for a little while now, and he has a number of really awesome books out. And his current book, Dragon Girl Albino Warrior, is crowdfunding on Kickstarter, and we're here to talk all about it and let people know and hopefully get this thing get this thing moving along here. So without further ado, welcome, Mike, and I hope you're having a good day here so far.
Hey, yeah, I'm having a good day. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. I'm always happy to talk to you about your comics in the Omenverse and to dive in a little bit further. We always have some really interesting conversations on here. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, the comic is currently at $300. Of course, we need a lot more to get to the goal, so we're really pushing this today and over the next 7 days, as that it is down to the last week. So, really need everybody out there to taking a look at it. If you haven't looked at it, please take a look already and see if there's something there for you. There are digital tiers, physical tiers, and all sorts of great stuff. So, we're gonna dive into it, but reading off of your prompt here based on the Kickstarter, Dragon Girl Albino Warrior is an East meets West martial arts fantasy comic with kaiju elements about an ancient prophecy and family. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about which comic is there? What inspired you? All that cool stuff.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, I suppose the initial influence where it was two things as far as the whole East meets West martial arts fantasy thing, and that was taking Shaolin Kung Fu in my latter 20s, learning a bit about the Zen Buddhist teachings of the warrior monks of the Shaolin Temple. And then you mix that with I'm a really huge Karate Kid fan,
Mm.
and that that kind of master student yet father son relationship that Miyagi and Daniel had.
Definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. That I believe that is the proper way to teach martial arts, and I picked up some of that in the Shaolin Kung Fu teachings.
It's like that
Uh,
master student mentality, right?
yes, but more than that.
Oh, really?
Also with the father son thing going on, I would put
Mm.
it akin to like Master Splinter and the
Yeah,
Ninja Turtles.
yeah,
How
yeah,
they're
yeah.
he's clearly their master. He's in charge, but there's a family unit going on
I
there.
see. Interesting. And so that is what kind of inspired you to create these characters here for this story?
Well, that particular element of it,
Mhm.
the meeting of cultures and the particular method, I guess, for teaching martial arts was gotten from that.
I imagine
But
that must have taken a decent amount of research.
a fair amount, yeah. But I mean, honestly, I study a fair amount of philosophy in my free time anyway.
So it was like par
It's
for the course in a way.
a little bit, you know. I mean, I
Mhm.
definitely had an idea about this when I started.
Hmm.
As far as Danny goes, though, she's the 16-year-old geek girl in that story. Now, with her, she has a very rare and terminal case of muscular dystrophy. And the inspiration from that really it came from I want to say this comic came out in like I want to say it was like 2018, maybe 2017, somewhere around in there. It was called Metaphase from Alterna Comics, and it was this guy had a son that was born with Down syndrome, and I could totally relate with that. I had a son that was born with Down syndrome.
Yeah, I remember we
Anyway,
talked about that before. Yeah.
yeah, and so
Hmm.
this guy actually made a comic book where the superhero had Down syndrome. And I just thought that was the most awesome thing. I mean, imagine being that kid and your dad basically makes a comic book with you in it. How cool is that, right?
Yeah, that's like
And
every
so,
kid's dream, right?
yeah. So, I mean, I was really inspired by that, and I really wanted to take a character with a disability like that and have them become a superhero to hopefully be an inspiration to others in that same situation. But
Mm.
also, you know, I really it was really important to me for Danny with that not to be her defining trait, You know what I mean? Yes, she has this terminal case of muscular dystrophy, and it is a major concern. But really, those aren't her defining traits. Her defining traits are like, she loves her favorite science fiction show, War Starfleet. She loves her favorite comic book, Warrior Queen. She often gets inspiration from that comic book. One of her favorite memories is staying up late with her friend Gretchen and watching old martial arts movies. These are the things that define Danny as a person.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you kind of would say that she is able to take what is considered a disability and turn it into an advantage in a sense.
Kind of like that, yeah.
Okay.
It more. I would
Learning
I would
to
more I would more
appreciate
say it's that
differences
she
and
doesn't allow it to be what, you know what I mean, like,
her hindrance, don't you know what I mean? Yeah,
right.
something
A
like
lot of
that.
a lot of folks in a situation like that might want to use that as, it just kind of let that disability consume them,
Mhm.
in the sense that, like, they don't get out or reach beyond that. And I really wanted to show a situation where, somebody was in a situation where they could easily just kind of give up. You know what I mean? Like, they're struggling. They're in a terminal situation here, and giving up would be really easy. But she pushes beyond that. She has heights and imagination, beyond her current situation.
I see. Okay. And shows is that's a big core of the comic then.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
Does that also
definitely.
play into the other story? Is it at the B story or is it the A story?
Well, technically, it's just one story.
Okay. Because I know
The
we talked last time that there are two kind of storylines you could say perhaps.
there are, but I mean, these storylines are gonna merge together, like,
Ah,
in the
okay.
very next comic, even.
But
But
the reason I bring it up is I was wondering does that same do those kind of same themes play into what's happening with the albino warrior at all,
well,
or what's
no,
going on with
he
his
Pai
character?
Long is not actually disabled, and I'll tell you something. Neither Dragon Girl nor Albino Warrior chose those names for themselves.
There are
Um,
monikers given to them.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
In the first issue of Dragon Girl Albino Warrior, Pai Long gets in a fight with his biker, and, the guy sees that he has the white skin, and so he just starts calling him names like Casper and stuff. And, so, then eventually, he ends up referring to him as, some albino warrior, and the name just kind of sticks with him. And the same thing with Dragon Girl. That was a name, her fellow students at her school came up with, to make fun of her.
And like an insult, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And same thing with albino then. How was his name given to him? Albino warrior.
Same. The thing with the biker I was just describing there. The biker calls him Casper and stuff because he has the white skin.
I see. So
Right,
similar, origins in a way.
right, right. And then you're not gonna find out, of course, until issue 2. But when that biker is describing what happened to his friend, he refers to him as that albino warrior, and the name just sticks.
Okay, interesting. Well, I guess it is fair, but is it can I assume that he's not actually an albino person then?
No, no, he's not actually an albino at all. His skin is literally white. Whereas,
Interesting. Is he even
with an
human?
albino, there's like a pigment issue going on.
Right.
But his skin is literally white.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll get into more of why that is and all the details there in
Yep, yep.
if
That
not
all
this issue
ties
in the
into the
future.
kaiju elements that we're
Yeah.
gonna run into later.
Now, of course, for those who don't know, Dragon Girl Albino Warrior is part of a larger universe of comics called the Omenverse. And
Yes.
those, you have a number of titles out like Gallows Men, Omen, White Druid, and Michael Nero. And a lot of those events are culminating towards something called Tetrad Omega. So can we maybe hope to see some of these characters returning perhaps in the future?
Oh yeah, these characters are definitely
Sweet.
this title, all the titles. I'll how do I break this down? When I originally wrote the story for the Omenverse, I wanted to tell it in a single title, but there was just so much going on at the same time. There was no way to tell everything in an order that made any kind of sense. It was very convoluted, and so I had to break it up into 6 titles. But all of the titles in the Omenverse are all culminating towards that event. They're all going to cross over. It's going to be this huge, mega apocalyptic event where we're mixing several end times prophecies and stuff together. I mean, there's going to be supernatural and paranormal stuff. There's going to be heaven versus hell. There's going to be kaiju fighting each other. It's going to be huge.
Man, that's epic. That is awesome, man. I'm super excited about that. I can't wait to see that one day. That's gonna be so epic. And
Yeah,
yeah, Kaiju's running around everywhere, man.
yeah,
And obviously, we talked a little bit about the Kaiju heart in this image here. Well, obviously I'm looking at it. I could probably bring it up on the screen for people to check out as well. But you're laying down the foundations here already for things to come in the future.
yeah. Let me see. Let me do this here.
Okay.
I
What you got?
will.
What you got for us, man?
Shabam.
There we go. Hey, you can do that too.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. The big old kaiju heart there. That's definitely a big hint there, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll see them in this first issue. That the whole thing with the kaiju and the Bailong Temple is it is their religion. They actually worship that kaiju.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Let me
Like
show
a
you
cult
this.
almost?
Um, well, I
Like the cult of Thorn, one might say. Eh?
no, 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 not like that, not like that.
Just kidding. Just
No,
kidding.
this is the like you see right here. This is the Bailong Temple right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this you see these little. I guess they kind of look like poles going up the side here.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Mm-hmm.
act that's actually the rib cage
Mm.
of the Great White Dragon Lord.
Oh wow. So you once roamed the earth
Yeah,
before
yeah,
maybe
long.
passing away in some circumstances of
Yes,
that maybe we'll
yes.
we'll we'll dive into in the comic, perhaps.
Oh yeah, we're gonna dig into that something fierce, and
Nice.
also we're gonna talk a bit about it in. We have a comic coming called Dark Oracles, which
Oh,
is
that's
actually going
dope.
to be a big old like 56-page comic, and
Damn.
me and Steve are both gonna. I'm gonna tell a 23-page story, and he's gonna tell a 23-page story.
Oh wow. Okay, it's two
And
separate stories in one.
yep, two
Which
separate stories in that one, and
oh wow.
I'm going to tell some of the background. For instance, the war of the great dragon lords back in ancient times, and how that ended up, and how the great white dragon lord ended up here on Earth. I'm going to tell all of that story in the Dark Oracles comic.
Man, that's gonna be really cool. That's gonna see some returning characters then, I would think.
Oh yeah,
Like
oh
one
yeah,
or two in particular, right?
for sure. For
Oh,
sure. In fact, even in the main series of Dragon Girl Albino Warrior, we already have plans for it to cross over with other titles. Like
that's cool.
they're going to cross over with White Druid and Michael Nero at one
Oh
point.
wow. That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
already kind of imagine the some of the interactions there. It will be really interesting to write.
yeah. And you'll notice, I don't know if this is big enough for you to see on the screen there. That looks
Let me
pretty
see. I
small,
could
but
full screen it here,
it
maybe.
says in here, it says 5 days before the blood moon.
Mm-hmm.
The blood moon is kind of our timestamp for the Omen verse. when the blood moon first appeared in the sky, it's kind of what started all of this.
This is the blood moon that we're seeing on the screen now. I put the blood moon up on the screen.
Yes, yes. And I'll tell you something. It's not your average kind of blood moon. It's not a lunar eclipse. The moon has literally turned red.
And it's tied into Tetrad Omega, right?
Yep. It's
Nice.
definitely part of that. It's definitely part of that, and you'll see reading the other comics, like for instance, I want to say in Omen #2, you start to see some of the effects that that the blood moon is having on people. Like there's a scene. I'm particularly proud of this one, maybe because I'm morbid, but there's a scene in Omen #2 where there's like an old lady with a purse and everything, full on curb stomping a guy on the street.
Oh man.
Right, but
That's
these are
wild.
the kind of things the blood moon does to people. It's
Oh
making people act
damn.
completely out of character. I
Granny's going
haven't.
ballistic, dude.
Yep. Things are getting crazy, and so
Mm.
people just start referring to things as, well, it's this. We're on day 6 of the blood moon,
Oh,
or
okay.
that kind of thing.
Oh shit. It's like an apocalyptic event in a sense.
Yes, it's definitely tied into that.
Damn.
Yeah,
The Omenverse is about to get real crazy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so this story, this among with a lot of the other number one comic first issue comics that you guys have put out is kind of all leading to this big event. And so, whether you want to read all of them or just dive into one, you should be able to still enjoy the kind of big event. I would imagine maybe not to the fullest extent as someone who's read all the comics, but you can pick and choose where you want to go with the Omenverse. Is that correct?
I don't know about that.
Really? Oh, do you recommend people really try and read them in order
Well,
then?
like for instance, one of the things we're offering with this particular campaign is a way for everybody to catch up digitally. We
Mm.
have those 2 Omenverse trades. The Omenverse Volume 1, Seeds of Tetrad Omega, has the first 4 issues that we released, and then Omenverse Volume 2, Roots of Tetrad Omega, has the next 4 issues we released, including Dragon Girl, Albino Warrior. I mean, it's one of those stories where, I mean, you can pick up and read one title,
Mhm.
um, and you'll be able to follow along in a story in there, but there is a larger overall story that is happening, and if you're not reading all the titles, it's going to be difficult to catch up on them. It's like I said,
So that's why you guys have kind of made it easy to be able to catch up with these digital offerings in this campaign then.
yes, and
Okay.
yeah, we really want, because I mean, 7 comics have come out before this already.
Mm.
Two issues of Omen, 2 issues of Gallowsman, 2 issues of White Druid and Michael Nero, and our Guardians of Aleum comic.
Oh, right, because the Guardians of the Lamb, that's kind of a historical one, but it's still part of the Omenverse.
Yeah, all these titles, no matter how separate they seem, are all wrapped up in the
Mm.
same story, and they're all going to cross over in that huge event at the end there.
They're all leading somewhere.
Yeah, like I
Okay.
said, this was originally one
That's cool,
story
man.
in my mind.
Okay, I see. So instead, you were able to develop it into multiple titles while still keeping the story, that big epic story, that big one story that you want to do intact.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It took a little bit of work, because I had, like I said, I had originally planned to tell it in the one title there, but I mean, honestly, it just wouldn't have worked that way. It's got to be broken up, otherwise I think that the story would just be too difficult to follow.
Like it would be following one character one issue and then different characters the next issue, and people
Right.
might be confused or forget
And
about
if
what
you're
happened
gonna
in
do that, you might as well just read Omen #1, and then White Druid and Michael Nero #1,
there.
and then
That's
Gallusman.
true. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, and then you kind of have a better idea of what you're getting into anyway.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well that's interesting, man. And so, how long have you guys been putting out Omenverse comics then?
We put out our very first comic, White Druid of Michael Nero #1, in January of 2019.
Okay, nice, man. So we've been going at it for a few years, and you guys have, I think, about 12 titles. Is that correct?
Well, we have 7 titles in Omen Comics right now. Dragon Girl Albino Warrior makes our 8th in Omen Comics, but the
No.
other
Oh,
the other ones
right.
you're thinking of are from Revelation
Mm-hmm.
Comics. We got 3
Makes sense.
titles there too.
Yeah, and Revelations is your standalone imprint where you put out comics that aren't part of the Omenverse, and you guys can play around and do different things there.
Right, and for the record, we're offering all the Revelation comic titles on here too.
And that's a good deal. That's a really good deal, man.
And I'll let you in on something. There's this really cool guy I know named Michael Watson,
I don't know that
and
guy. I don't know. Sure.
yeah, see, he hooked us up with a copy of Barrels #1, and we're giving that out too. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, and of course there's also Jack Irons, the Steel Cowboy
Who doesn't love
#1, and
Jack Irons?
Yep, yep, and Wrath #1. So you're getting 3. You can get 3 Wicked Comics publishing titles in there too.
So
Yeah,
it's a big digital deluxe bundle.
yeah, and but speaking of digital bundles, we're offering a whole bunch of other comics in here. I don't know how well you can see this on here, but we got Warbound #1 from Evolution Publishing, Home
Hmm.
Free #1 from Coffee Time Comics. We got 3 preview comics from Energy Comics. We got Cosmos #1 from Advent Comics, and Night #1, another one from Evolution Publishing. Lost Between Worlds #1, Hour Zero, and the updated version of Captain Orange #3, Captain Orange and the Swamp Creatures of Laturis by Amy Fusco, not available to read on Global Comics until September, when we and that'll be released at 45 backers.
Oh wow, that's a lot of comics, man. That's like an indie smorgasbord.
Right, but that's not all. I got more.
No dang.
Yeah, there's also Decay #1 from Anthony Stokes, Diary of Night by Will Allred. There's also an updated version of Amy Fusco's Captain Orange, The Malarkey Matrimony, that's on there. And last but not least, we got Ray's #1 from Ray's Comics, Crossover Division #1 by the Midnight Hour, and Alpha Dogs #1 by John Dexter.
Damn, that's quite the deal you're getting there.
Yeah, got lots of digital comics from all over.
And it looks like if we can get to the goal and then some, there's also even stretch goals on the horizon as well there. So
There
something
is
to keep in
one.
mind.
There is one stretch goal. If we reach
Foil.
$3,349, we're offering a foil cover edition of Dragon Girl Albino
Nice,
Warrior,
nice. That
and
would be
that's
really,
going out to all the
really
physical
pretty. I bet.
backers. Yeah,
I mean, that would be cool. Oof. Yeah, the printer has that new foil and they do some really cool stuff there. So that's a cool one to keep an eye on as well. So now this
yeah,
book
yeah.
is, of course, as it mentions here, action packed and filled with of martial arts. And so what did you how did you approach trying to develop a comic that is so action focused?
Well, honestly, I'm a big fan of old martial arts movies, really. And having taken I've taken Taekwondo, I took Shaolin Kung Fu, I even took a little karate. So I'm fairly familiar with I mean martial
That's
arts
cool.
forms and that kind of
Hmm.
thing. It's a little different in that, and I don't know. I'll let you in on a little secret about taking martial arts that I don't know if a lot of people know
Mm.
of. They don't teach you how to fight the average Joe on the street. They don't. In fact, no matter what form of martial arts they teach you how to fight other people that know that martial art. So when I took Shaolin Kung Fu, I didn't learn how to defend myself against Joe Blow on the street. I learned how to defend myself against other people that knew Shaolin Kung Fu. The same thing with Taekwondo and with karate. So having to adapt that into a street fighting scenario was a little different for me. But I think it turned out all right.
Guess you need to take a street fighting course next. I'm not sure
Well,
they have that stuff.
I
So.
have a little bit of experience there myself. So
There you go. Where you lack in knowledge, you'll make up for in experience, I guess.
right.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
but yeah, that's interesting. And the martial arts, in particular, in the kung fu movies, that's pretty cool. Like, do you have any favorite kung fu movies?
Oh, I'm a big Jet Li fan.
Nice, the
Yeah,
classics, huh?
yeah. Jet Li is definitely my favorite.
Yeah, I could see that. That's cool. Yeah.
I think my favorite from his is actually Romeo Must Die.
Huh? I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a spoof on the Romeo and Juliet thing.
Really?
But one of the things I actually really liked about it was one of the special effects. They would do this thing where, he would do a move and he would break somebody's arm or their shoulder or something like that, and it would like zoom in and give you this little X-ray shot of their arm like snapping or breaking. I actually got inspired by that in Gallowsman #2. You'll see a similar scene with that with the hangman wrapping that rope around that guy's arm and spinning it around his shoulder, and you see his shoulder and arm snapping. That's where I
Mhm,
got
mhm,
that
mhm.
from.
Oh wow. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I partial to Jackie Chan myself. If I have to,
Jackie Chan is cool.
yeah, he's
Jackie Chan
great.
is
I
cool.
love Oh, go ahead. Which
I
one?
really like Jackie Chan's ability to just use whatever is around him.
Yeah. Yeah, very environmental, and I love one of his older movies. I love is of course I'm not sure if I got the title. It's like it's the one where he's the drunken master.
Oh yes, the Legend
Yeah,
of the Drunken
yeah,
Master.
yeah. That's a
Yes.
great one, man. He played that character so great, and man, it's so funny.
I think my favorite Jackie Chan movie, that would be hard. I think what was it? Shanghai Noon.
Oh yeah, that's a great one too. Yeah,
Yeah, that one and Rush Hour,
Shanghai
I think are
Nights,
my
Shanghai
two
Noon. Those are
favorites.
Rush
Yeah,
Hour's good. Yeah,
yeah.
those are all great movies. Yeah. I was surprised they never come out with the third one for like after the Shanghai series, you know. But
Right?
but yeah, good stuff. But yeah, the comic definitely plays homage to a lot of your favorite kung fu movies. Then
It is. It is.
okay,
And I just because I haven't mentioned this already, the comic is already made.
okay, so it's not like there's a risk of you back in. Oh, now you're not. It's not going to get made for some reason. It's not that
Yeah,
kind of scenario at all. At all.
the PDFs I'm gonna send to you guys that you guys send off to Comics Wellspring, they're made.
Nice.
The only thing they're waiting for is the producers' names.
Which okay, which
If
is
the
something
campaign
that
is funded, right, I'm going to take all the producers' names and I'm going to put them in the credits of the comic, and that's the only thing they're waiting on. The art, the letters, the like I said, even the PDF is made. We're just talking about inserting a page here.
Okay, that's cool, man. So that would mean that after the campaign concludes, there'd be a really quick turnaround time, get the books printed and get them out to people.
Yes,
Okay,
I
very
figured,
nice.
I have it figured. There's you I'm figuring about 2 months to get the comic to Comic Wellspring, have them send us a proof and get the comics printed. But I added on another month onto that. Just to deal with in case I've heard some people having to wait like 3 weeks to get the money from Kickstarter.
Yikes.
And yeah, and so I added an extra month onto that time
Oh, okay, just for buffer, right?
just in case. And then
Okay.
on top of that, I added just in case because there's stuff that comes up with shipping sometimes too, right? Like UPS can mess up an order or damage something, or I mean stuff can come up. And so I added an additional 3 months onto there. So all of the made by estimations on here are with that in mind. The 3 months to get the comic made and shipped out, and then 3 months to cover any possible shipping issues. So it's 6 months out, but like I said, the comic is already made, and most of that is buffer time.
Okay, so pretty confident then that you'd be able to get that out within that time there.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, because there's nothing to wait on really.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys have got that, under your belt, and you definitely have a team that knows what they're doing. They've done, like you said, they've done 7 of these titles so far, 8 now with this one.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you guys are definitely been kind of getting this routine under your belt, and uh, yeah, I mean, it's good to see that. Yeah. Now, we still need a lot more backers, so please, everybody, if you're watching, go check it out. I'm gonna put the link up on the screen again, as we it actually is up there right now. So if you're watching, go check that out. We definitely want people to go share the comic with their friends, everyone else who they can think of. Do you have plans for what's next after the Omenverse? What I know you're always coming up with new ideas and whatnot. Um,
Uh, the next Omenverse comic that's coming out is Dark Oracles.
okay, so that's the one you're gonna focus on after Dragon Girl Albino Warrior.
Actually, after Dragon Girl Albino Warrior, the next one we're releasing is going to be a Revelation Comics title.
Oh, really? Interesting.
We're kind of alternating back and forth.
And have you revealed the title for that one?
It's going to be it's a book by our artist Tosin Awasika.
Oh, wow. Is it Fox Operations related or something new?
No, no. He
Oh,
although I as an update, he is writing Insurrection Fox Operations book 2
oh,
right now.
oh, cool.
But no, the next comic we're doing from him is called SAD. It's an acronym for Sad and Desperate.
Huh. Interesting.
And it deals with Nigerian mythology and conspiracy and the military
Whoa.
and making strange scientific creatures and I mean all kinds of crazy stuff going on in that comic. He wrote it, but I got the pleasure of scripting it, and I've scripted the first 3 issues already, and I can tell you it is a wild and crazy story, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
It sounds really cool. Yeah, I mean, it sounds really inventive, and I love to see Tosin doing some more writing. That's really
Yeah,
cool. Tosin,
yeah,
of
yeah.
course, your artist,
Right.
and so he has, I believe, he wrote the first Fox Operations, correct? Or at
Yeah,
least, yeah.
again, he wrote that and I scripted it. But
Okay, that's right. Okay, he
yeah,
came out. He wrote the story. You scripted it out into the issue, and I imagine you'll be working the same on this new one then.
yeah, like I said, the sad issues. I've already scripted the first 3 issues of
Nice.
those. So
Okay,
I mean that the it's the next comic we're doing is already written from him.
that's awesome. You
Yeah,
guys
so
are staying busy as always.
that we are. Let me talk a little bit about some of the stuff we're offering in this campaign here.
I'd love to hear some of that. Yeah.
As you can see in here, we're right here at this $4 tier.
Mm-hmm.
Now, bear in mind, this is not. I've seen a lot of digital copies go out that are really low res. That I don't know. I personally don't. I personally don't like that in a digital copy. I like nice, clean pictures when I'm seeing it. And so that digital copy we're talking about it's a high res RGB copy. So I mean, it's not the CMYK you'd get in a printed edition, but
Mm,
it is a nice RGB copy.
I see. Okay, so high quality and whatnot.
Yeah, and it for being a 44-page comic, that digital copy is only $4.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's a big comic. It's got a lot of content in it.
Yeah, and check it out, because we're at 25 backers right now. You back it at that digital level there, you already get 5 comics free that just get added onto that. We're talking about that Warbound #1 from Evolution Publishing, Home Free #1 from Coffee Time Comics, and those 3 preview comics from Energy Comics. You
Mm-hmm.
get all of those right now if you back at that $4 digital level.
Nice. And so
Already open.
each time you go up another 10 backers, you unlock another set of
Yeah,
comics. It sounds like
yeah. It's going out again at 35 and 45 and on up.
nice.
Now, this next one up here, I talked about giving people that producer credit in the comic. And with this one, you get that digital copy plus a producer credit, and that's something I don't think a lot of people are offering. Most people, when they're talking about giving somebody a credit in the comic, it doesn't typically go with a digital copy, from what I've seen. I mean, I'm not an expert or anything, but from what I've seen, you typically got to go printed for that. and I wanted everybody, because there's a lot of folks that are going to maybe want to back this that aren't even from the United States. And as I'm not shipping outside of the United States, digital's their best way to go. And I was really thinking about them with this particular tier. I wanted to give them that producer credit, which is costing them $7, plus that $4 digital, and of course they unlock all of the digital stretch goals from there too.
That's pretty awesome.
Let's see what we got here. Of course, we get to the printed comic here. You get everything from the last two, but in this one, we're adding on a printed copy of Dragon Girl Albino Warrior, and that again, it's a 44-page comic, and we're charging $9 for it. I've seen 44-page comics go for $15-$20 on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And you add shipping on top of that, and that could be an expensive comic book. And again, I didn't want people to want to back us, to want to support us, to want to read our comics and not be able to afford it because the prices were too high.
No, okay. So the comic itself is $9, but the tier has more than just the comic, correct?
Yes, the tier, you also get that digital copy, which I think is cool because it gives you something to read while you're waiting for that printed copy. But then you also get the producer credit in the comic. It also comes with the 3x5 waterproof Dragon Girl Albino Warrior sticker, which is this right here.
The blue sticker, correct?
Yeah, that's 3x5, folks. That's practically a postcard.
That's pretty big, yeah.
Yep, and of course, right here at this level, it automatically unlocks the variant cover stretch goal.
Okay, very nice, man.
Yeah, and you're getting all of that for $22. And check this out, shipping. I've seen shipping go for $8, $9. I'm only charging $5 for shipping, and here's why. Media mail, which we're going to be using for shipping, is based upon size and weight. It's not based on destination. So we can ship media mail all over the United States within a $5 range. And so that's what I'm charging. The shipping won't go over that $5. And so that's why we're charging $5 for that. So, I mean, you're basically talking about getting all that stuff and then only paying $5 shipping on top of that. So that's $27 for that.
And that's the physical and all the other cool stuff as well.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then of course we haven't gotten any bites on these. And actually, I'm thinking about not putting these in our tiers anymore.
Oh, really interesting. Yeah, those could be a tricky sometimes. I can understand that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wanted to be able to set. I've seen campaigns talk about the they don't have a limit set for, I'm going to print 150 comics, so I know the printing's going to cost this much. That's how much I need to raise. It's this kind of unknown figure they calculate at the end, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly how much I wanted to raise. And so consequently, I had to limit how much was available for each tier.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And so that's why you're thinking about not including it next time, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, that's 10 comics in this tier that I could have used to go to other backers.
Gotcha. Okay. That's something to consider, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely,
So,
yeah.
I mean, but with that one, I mean, they're basically they're set to make the store is set to make $10 on the sale of the comic after you figure in the price of the comics and the $5 shipping. But to try and balance that out, I threw in a producer credit, so they also got the name of their shop in there.
And that's is part of the bundle. Like the 5 copies, you get the producer credit as well.
And the producer credit is free in this particular case. And the reason is comic book shops on average want 60% off of the cover to sell your comic. And
Yeah,
well,
steep.
yeah, 60% off the cover price is a lot, and I just can't afford that. And so, I mean, I gave them as much as I could with the 33.33% off. But to try and make up for that amount that they're not giving, I thought I'd give them a little free verbiage in the comic there,
Nice. Yeah, a little
with
bit
a
of promo or
yeah,
advertising, you might say.
and yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then, of course, we move up to the silver level backer. And in this one, you get, of course, all the stuff you got from before. But in this one, we start throwing in. I talked about the digital trades of Omenverse Volume 1 and Omenverse Volume 2 that collect our comics together. Well, starting here at the silver level backer, we're throwing in the digital copy of Omenverse Volume 1, Seeds of Tetrad Omega. And that has Omen number 1 and number 2, White Druid and Michael Nero number 1, and Gallowsman number 1 in it. So and for that one, I'm only charging $10 for that, and that's 136 pages.
Wow. That's a lot, man.
Yeah,
It's like that's a whole trade paperback right there.
it is a trade. It collects 4
Yeah,
issues,
that's pretty
so
cool. So you're
that's
getting
a
a
that's
whole big bunch of reading material, and of course you can catch up if you haven't ever read any of the Omenverse comics. It's a great way to catch up on it.
Yeah, exactly. And when you get up to this gold level backer, that's when I start. That's when I throw in the rest of it. You get that digital copy of Omenverse Volume 2, Roots of Tetrad Omega, and that one has White Druid and Michael Nero number 2, Gallowsman number 2, Guardians of Aleum number 1, and of course Dragon Girl Albino Warrior number 1. But we also throw in a 12 by 8 printed poster of Dragon Girl Albino Warrior's cover art. So I mean, you're talking about this, but a virgin cover. It wouldn't have this stuff on it or what have you, the logo
Hmm.
or the but it would just
Just
be
the
that.
art.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I mean, really, I think I really like how this turned out. I think it turned out pretty sweet.
Yeah, that would look great on someone's wall. I feel like.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
All right,
Okay.
and then the final, the top tier on this one. Check it out. In the add-ons, you can get those. I told you we're offering those digital copies of the Revelation comics. Blitz number 1, Insurrection, Fox Operations book 1, and my Viking horror comic Seder number 1. Now those in the add-ons are all $3 a piece, but if you pick up this Omenaut level backer, you get them at $2 a piece, and not just those comics. I mentioned the Wicked Publishing bundle too, with Barrels number 1, Jack Irons, the Steel Cowboy number 1, and Wrath number 1. Those are $3 in the add-ons, but on this tier only, you get them for $2 each.
So it's like essentially you're getting a bit of a steal because you're getting all the comics in one bundle, and you're getting a little bit off of each issue as well.
Right, and with this one, you'll be able to catch up on the entire series, plus read all of Revelation
Mm.
comics, and you get a little extra bundle with some Wicked Publishing
Looks wicked.
titles. Yeah,
Nice. That's pretty cool. That's a nice little bundle right there. I like that.
yeah,
Repping some of the Wicked crew, also getting to check out some of the Revelation stuff and what you guys got going over there. I mean, like you said, you just released Seder. That one is really interesting, and so there's a lot of really good titles in that bundle. It's a lot of material for people to read and catch up on.
yeah. I basically whenever I put an Omenot level backer in any campaign, that means we're taking everything, including the kitchen sink, and we went and borrowed our neighbor's kitchen sink too.
You gotta throw it on in there, man.
That's right. In this
That's
case, our
cool.
neighbor's kitchen sink was, Cody Fernandez, Michael Watson, and Scott Kish.
Yeah, exactly. And then you
Yeah,
went and the cook this time is Patrick O'Leary. He's putting it all together in the sink.
that's
He's
right.
cooking on up for this fun and time.
A little Irish stew for you.
There you go. No, I wouldn't trust that. I wouldn't trust any Irish stew from Patrick O'Leary, man.
No,
That's
I
for
wouldn't
sure.
either. It might have body parts in it.
Yeah, I was thinking like a couple of eyes might roll up and start looking at you. You never know, man. It's a little gallows humor, if you will.
That's right. That's right.
But then, you gotta
But
love it.
actually, you caught on what one of the reasons I named it Gallowsmen was not actually just because the agents were called Gallowsmen, but everybody in the title deals death in some fashion.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting, man. Yeah, that's for those who don't know, that's another Omenverse title is Gallows Men.
Yeah.
That's why we did that. Yeah, that's definitely one of the darker titles.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Is this what? How does this one compare? Like in terms of what rating would you give this one?
Honestly, I'd rate most of the stuff I write at like PG-17. But Dragon Girl Albino Warrior, I think you could read this at 12.
Okay, so this is closer to an all ages thing.
It's about as close to an all ages title as I'm ever gonna write.
That's funny. Usually, Steve has the Blitz, but yeah, so far you haven't written anything quite like that, I guess, huh?
No, and that's let me play this. I wonder if it'll let me play the video.
Should, yeah.
Let's see. Is it?
Let's see here. Oh yeah, there we go.
Dragon Girl Albino Warrior #1 is an East meets West martial arts fantasy comic with superheroes and kaiju elements. The comic follows 2 stories. The first is about a 24-year-old Chinese warrior monk named Pai Long, who was raised in seclusion at the Bai Long Temple, learning the way of the White Dragon Lord. Propriety, integrity, justice, and honor, and mastering White Dragon Kung Fu. But now, because of a prophecy, he must come to America. The second story is about a 16-year-old geek girl named Danny Finney with an extremely rare and terminal case of muscular dystrophy that confines her to a wheelchair. Danny's loving and supportive parents, Mary and James, are desperate to find a cure that can save her. Check out Dragon Girl Albino Warrior and see why I call it a light in dark places, as Galadriel would say. I wanted to play that specifically, I guess, for that end line there.
I was gonna say, is that Galadriel from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I'm a huge
Tolkien
nut.
Are you? Did you watch
Yeah.
Rings of Power yet, or?
Oh yeah, I'm
nice,
all over
man.
that.
Nice, yeah, me too, man. I enjoyed the first couple episodes.
Well, you remember when Galadriel gave Frodo the Silmaril, the little vial that had the light from the tree in it?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right.
That's the quote from that part of the book there?
She says, may it be a light in dark places.
Mm-hmm.
And I call Dragon Girl Albino Warrior a light in dark places because it is so the antithesis of everything else I've ever written.
Yeah, true. And it's Omenverse is a dark place.
Yeah.
So we have this is the little bit of light that shines through the darkness of the Omenverse.
Yeah.
And maybe they can help spread some of that and influence some of the other characters, and they can start moving towards something. Because I definitely know the Omenverse, like I said, it can be a pretty rough place to live.
Right. As a general rule, everybody in the Omenverse is pretty broken and are almost heroes in spite of themselves. Pai Long and Danny Finney are genuinely good people.
Interesting.
I mean, I would almost go as far as calling this title wholesome.
Dare I say it? Wholesome.
Dare I say it? You know what I mean? There's no swearing. There's one scene where there's just a tad bit of blood. You compare that to like the Colombian necktie that the lady killer gave that guy in Gallowsman #2, right? Where she just cuts open his throat and rips out his tongue.
Or even some of the stuff you see in Seder,
Yeah. No, this isn't like that. I think the martial arts in it are rather tasteful, and I honestly think that anybody, I mean, if kids can watch the Power Rangers, they can read this.
Okay. But you still have a great story and characters that we can connect with, and
yeah, I honestly think that, I mean, I'm not sure. There are some parts about the story, especially as it evolves and we go on to other issues, that might be a little out of reach for a 12-year-old.
Okay, but maybe,
But I don't.
they can grow with the series perhaps, and,
Right, right,
even someone younger might be able to grow into reading some of the later issues perhaps.
right. Because there's definitely I'm gonna say mature, but not necessarily adult content.
Mhm.
They really have to question things about what they're doing, and they discuss philosophy and morality and ethics. And well, I think a 12-year-old could get some of that on a simple level. They might not understand the grander scheme of those principles.
Oh, okay, but that's fair, and it's kinda like, when you go see an animated movie, maybe there's some things that the kids aren't gonna they're gonna go over their heads, but that's okay because they gotta have something for the adults to enjoy too.
Right, right, right.
Mhm.
I definitely think that adults could get into this too. I mean,
Right? Yeah.
especially if you're into martial arts fantasy. I mean, Pai Long. I'll let you in on a little something. The name Pai Long means dragon punch.
Ah, nice. And
In
that's
fact,
probably what he's doing right there, isn't it?
yep, yep. You see how his fists are getting all
Yeah,
electrified there,
that's
and
cool.
they're
Hit him
starting
with
to
a little
match the
dragon
color
fist,
of that
bro.
heart behind him. Yep, he's about to deliver said
Mm.
dragon punch.
And it looks like, what's the character on the right's name again?
Shifu.
Shifu. Shifu's looks like he's, readying some sort of a defensive move to kinda block this, perhaps?
Yeah, it's essentially what Shifu is using there is chi based.
Okay.
So it's kind of a force field
Mhm.
of sorts.
Of
But
energy, right?
it's an extension of his chi that he's able to project momentarily as a shield.
Nice, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. That's such a good cover, isn't it? The way that they're, like, kinda posed, attacking each other.
Yeah, yeah,
Alright,
and
yeah, it's good.
I love that. I love that with the heart in the background there.
Yeah.
I think it really
Evokes
speaks
a
something about the series.
it's quite a striking image. Yeah, that's for sure, especially with the blue heart and all the wispy things going around, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, and you'll notice you see this right here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he's got a puncture mark in the heart,
Mhm.
and it's actually bleeding. You see the blood actually running down the side of it and pooling up down here at the bottom.
And Shifu's is pissed now. He's like, "What's going on here, dog?"
No, no, I didn't explain it much in this particular issue because I wanted to leave the air of mystery there.
Mm.
You have this electrified heart that is floating above the ground. It has a pierce mark in it and it is bleeding. It is eternally bleeding and yet still alive.
Jeez. Whoa, that's creepy.
Right?
Oh my god. Interesting. So it's gonna be how like playing into to that stuff in
Yeah.
this and further issues then.
Right, and then you see when I talk about them worshiping the thing, you'll see here, after they get done practicing here. Let's see, let's get down. Where is it? Here we go. This as Pi is getting ready to leave there, you see them both bow. They're both bowing and praying to that
Mm-hmm.
heart.
Hmm. Again, going back to the idea of these group of people who worship this heart.
Yes, yes.
Mhm,
And
but not
again,
cult-like worship, right? It's more. I wonder what a closer word would be for it, right? It's like a secret organization or a mystic order, perhaps.
I hmm. I guess I never
Warrior
really considered
monks. Okay.
warrior monks for certain. The way of the White Dragon Lord is White Dragon Kung Fu, and then they have those four main principles: propriety, integrity, justice, and honor.
Oh, okay. So they have kind of a creed.
Yes, yes, and you see here a little bit about like I tried to show that I talked about that father son master student relationship, and I really wanted to show that in this page here, and especially with this last panel here. You see Shifu and Pai embracing each other as father and son, despite their clear relationship of respecting the master and the student kind of a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where the kind of the what we talked about earlier with the whole Karate Kid and relationship comes into play.
Yeah. I really liked, and not just the Karate Kid too, but like I mentioned with the Ninja Turtles as well. But that I liked that master student father son relationship, that dynamic. In fact, I'll be straight up. That's the kind of father I was to my children. That's how much I like it.
So are you into Cobra Kai then as a
Oh, I
fan?
love Cobra
Do
Kai.
you?
Yeah, great series.
So I bet you're pretty excited about it. Isn't there a new season coming out?
Yeah, this Friday.
Really? Oh wow, I didn't realize it was so soon.
Yeah, this Friday, season 5, baby.
That's cool. And that one's, I believe, do you know much about it? I won't spoil anything if you haven't heard anything about it. But
I don't know much about it,
okay, then I
and
won't say nothing.
I've been trying to avoid hearing. I learned
Oh,
this.
okay. Okay.
Did you see The Conjuring? The Devil Made Me Do It.
No, I did not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I learned this experience with that movie, and that is this.
What?
I heard that people were so scared watching that movie that they left the theater, that they couldn't even stand to finish the movie.
Oh
They
my
were
God.
that terrified. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, okay, sounds like a bunch of wusses watched it, but I'll check it out. So I watched it, and because of the hype of it being supposed to be this terrifying movie, it just didn't live up to that for me, and it kind of ruined it for me a little bit. And so I learned, you know what? I'm not going to listen to what people say before I watch a movie anymore. I'm gonna wait until afterwards, and then I can agree or disagree with them from there.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't trust generally anything until I see it myself anyway. Like you said, if I have an interest, I'll go check it out and then make my own opinion up, right?
Right.
And that's always usually the best way to do it. Everyone's gonna like something different, so it's always hard to gauge that. But yeah, it is really funny. Everyone's like running out of the theater, and you're like, "Oh, this is no. What are you talking about? This is fine."
Honestly, I gotta, after reading that article and seeing the movie, I mean, what were you people going to a horror movie for if it was that terrifying for you? I mean, what were
Some
you
people,
expecting to
yeah,
see
I
in
don't
a
know.
horror movie?
Oh my! I stormed out because I was horrified by that horror movie. I can't
That's right.
believe it. I just can't believe it. Yeah, that's a good
Right,
one.
right.
Oh man. Well, okay, well, that's interesting. Speaking of movies, have you ever thought about, who, like, if you could have a dream cast of like some of the people in the Omen verse, like, have you ever thought about what actors would be good for certain roles?
Yeah, but all the actors I really want to play them are probably too old to do
Oh no.
it.
Yeah, that's true. That happens sometimes. Like, the actor's
Like,
great,
for
but then,
instance, with Michael Nero, I was actually picturing Billy Idol when I imagined him.
that's a good one. That's a very good one. Yeah.
That's why Michael Nero has that kind of punk edge to him.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Do you know who John Constantine is based on in visual?
Sting, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
another musician. Musicians are apparently great for basing characters on, I guess. Weird as
Right.
thought.
I tend to do that a lot in my scripts, actually. With the one of the recent comics I was writing, I like tried to describe. I'm like, I see a short, kind of fat guy. Basically, I'm thinking of Danny DeVito. So whatever you can get in there,
Oh, that's good.
like
Yeah.
that's how I describe things in my script sometimes.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Oh, that's funny.
you could picture like an actor or a singer or something like that in your mind, and
Being
it's
a
just
comic book writer is really fun when you get to describe things like that to your
yeah,
artists.
right.
Yeah, yeah. And kind of a random tangent, but did you see? I saw there was a fan casting of Danny DeVito as Wolverine.
Oh, actually, my understanding is it when they when they were first talking about doing it, when they were first talking about casting Wolverine, one of the people on the short list was Danny DeVito.
Oh my God! No pun intended, I assume, right?
Yeah, no pun intended. But that is pretty funny. I take that back. I meant that now.
Yeah, it's like, no, I meant it all along. That's right. Oh man, yeah, that would have been something different. That would have definitely been a different take on the character for sure.
Right.
Can you imagine though if they got him just as ripped? Like, oh my god, if like Danny Vito was so ripped, like that'd be wild, dude.
You know who I honestly, my first thought when they were talking about casting somebody for Wolverine, my first thought was Glenn Danzig.
Really
Yeah,
interesting. That's
because he's
could have been a
short
good
and
choice.
he's all super buff. I mean, isn't that? I totally
Nah.
just pictured. I went Glenn
And he's got the
Danzig.
hair for it, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's funny, dude. Another musician for you on there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man. But well, that's good, man. I'm glad you're getting this comic out and you're like you said the pages are finished. And so at some point we're gonna get to see this get a public release, but of course the backers always come first.
Right.
And so we've done a number of these campaigns. Wicked Publishing has fulfilled a bunch of these campaigns, and so we got a really good way to get these books out to you guys, and should get them to you in timely manner. Of course, there's always setbacks with the printer or certain things happen, but we've been pretty lucky to be able to get these books out quickly. And the mailers that we use are great. They keep the costs low and but ensure that the books are protected and there's not going to be any issue there. And of course, we will always Wicked Publishing will always honor replacing any books that get damaged in the post. Yeah, we'll definitely take care of that on our end at Wicked Publishing, so we give you that guarantee as well.
Right. And like I said, I over projected with with the delivery times on there. So
Exactly.
I
So if
mean,
anything, it's gonna be coming out. It'll be any sooner than what's listed in the campaign.
unless hell itself ascends on the earth, this will be
or
delivered in time.
or the blood moon, right? The
That's
blood
right.
moon.
That's right. If Tetrad
Come
Omega starts, we might have an issue.
come hell or Tetrad Omega, we will
That's
deliver.
right. That's right. I mean, I really, because I went so far over, even adding that additional 3 months, I really, I, I obviously can't predict the future, but I can tell you that I can't foresee a possible situation where we can't deliver this in 6 months. I just can't.
Okay. Well, that's good, man. That's really good. Well, I definitely think people should check the book out if you haven't already. Obviously, we've been talking about it for the last hour, so if you're just joining us, go and check out the recap of it. Should be posted up on YouTube, if not right away, pretty shortly thereafter. Um, but I know there's 7 days left to go. What do you want to tell people to encourage them to go check out your book?
Well, I really think you're going to find something unique with this comic. We're not we're it's not just about martial arts. It's not just about kaiju. It's really, I mean, is there a martial arts fantasy comic with kaiju in it out there? I don't think so.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think so.
Especially if you add into that a real strong family core to the whole thing. I mean, I really think you're going to enjoy this if you're a martial arts fan. If you're a kaiju fan, and I'll give you a little heads up. When they're starting off fighting bikers in this one, but we got a serious mad scientist coming your way, and a big old enormous kaiju. I mean, lots of stuff
That's a
happening
lot
in
to
the
look forward
series.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, I really think I'm offering something unique here, and I think you guys will enjoy it.
Well, that's really great, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate your time today. Do you have any other streams that you have coming up in this last week here?
Yeah. Let's see. I am going to be on Critical Blast at 5 p.m. on the 8th.
Nice.
Yep. That's it. I guess real quick, I'd like to plug something I'm working on right now. And that is with Raincross Press.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah.
Tell us the goods.
Well, okay. David Howard, Nemesis, created a kind of, imagine if you will. Do you know the 2000 AD comic?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, imagine an American 2000 AD
Mm-hmm.
crossed with Heavy Metal magazine.
Oh, you're speaking my language, man.
Right, right. He's got this. He's got this anthology magazine coming out called Blood World. That is essentially that. We've created the. He created this whole universe, and we all kind of took a little corner of that and built our own little thing out of it. There's going to be 6 different stories in this anthology coming out. It's going to be like 80 plus pages, something like that. Anyway, my particular story is called Descent. Imagine, if you will, Blade Runner 2049 meets 7.
Damn. That's interesting.
But
I like
yeah,
that, man. That's a
we'll be going
cool
on
cool
shows and
idea.
talking about
Yeah.
that stuff. Thank
Well,
you. I
that's cool.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you're welcome, man. I'm excited to see more about that. It'll be really, really cool. And so a lot on the horizon then, it sounds like.
Lots of stuff going on for sure. Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, yes, go ahead and check. And it was Critical Blast, September 8th at 5 p.m. as well. I believe was the next show, correct?
Right, and that's Pacific time.
Pacific time.
Yep.
Yes, please go check that out, guys. And then, of course, we have the link here for the campaign as well. And every backer really helps out a lot. So please go ahead and check it out and share it with all your friends and family and anybody you know who likes comics. And we really appreciate that.
Don't forget our digital guarantee. If you back this,
Yes.
you're guaranteed a digital copy, even if the campaign is unsuccessful.
And not many people offer that. So that's a really nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get some comics, guys. Get out there and get yourself some comics. And thank you so much, everyone. If you're watching live, of course, thank you so much. And if you're watching the replays, we appreciate you as well. And we will see you on a future episode of the Campaign Countdown. See you later,
Live
all.
long and prosper.
Woo!